Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner. On this wonderful session, and where we're talking about a very powerful chapter in a very iconic book, if you will, The Science of Getting Rich. And I am so grateful, we're talking about gratitude today, that I'm here with two amazing colleagues of mine, and we have such powerful conversations. Of course, if you've been following us and watching these sessions, there's so much in them, so much value, gems, jewels, nuggets of infinite intelligence, if you will. It's a lot of experience here. So without further ado, my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business consultant. My purpose is to reveal the hidden potential that's already within you and guide you to your truest desires. I work with individuals, business owners, entrepreneurs, just basically helping you hit higher milestones. And I love it. And I'll pass it on to my amazing colleague, Lou.
Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us live. And if you're catching the replay, thank you for being here with us. So, excuse me, my name is Lou Perica. My business is Prosperous Results. And I, too, am a success mindset coach. And what that simply means is I help growth-minded women and entrepreneurs create results on purpose. So we're all creating results every day, but most of us are doing it unconsciously. And what I do is I help them flip that switch to design results intentionally using the incredible power of our minds. Because once we understand how the mind really works, then everything else starts to work too. And this ties in beautifully with today's conversation about gratitude. I'm very excited to talk about this. And gratitude is one of the most powerful mental tools that we have. So let me introduce my colleague and dear friend, Paul.
Thank you, Lou, and thank you, Jamel. I'm very grateful to be here this morning. My name is Paul Wooters. I'm from Burlington, Ontario in Canada. I'm a success mindset coach, Proctor Gallagher consultant. I'm also in the leadership and development department at the World Life Education Center as the director of inner potential and personal mastery. And what I help people do, what I help you, individuals, is to unlock your true potential, help you create your life by design and with intention rather than by default, and really help you live to your greatest possibilities, working from the inside out. I'm going to pass it back over to our host, Jamel.
Awesome. I am so excited to share this chapter. It's one of my favorite chapters in this book. And before we just dive right in about gratitude, for all our viewers, make sure, you know what, we'll challenge you today. And for those that just have been watching, engage with us. Drop a comment on whatever platform you see this on or listen to, and put in the comments what you're grateful for as you're watching this. Just write down anything that you're grateful for. Okay. And also, guess what? If you're live, you can ask this question live as well. And we're here to help you with that. We always love serving and helping others because it brings out the best in you and you're able to create the results that you want, have whatever you want. So without further ado, gratitude. This chapter is so powerful. I'm, looking at all the notes I've taken, and it's like only 5 pages long, but it's so potent. And I was thinking how gratitude, how I had it and have it in my life. And this really clarifies what gratitude is. And we'll start right off the top here. The first step to getting rich, or whatever it is that you desire, is to convey the idea of your wants to the formless substance. Wow. And we talked about that on the previous episode, right? We talked about that. So what is this formless substance? What is this invisible stuff we're talking about? It's the thinking stuff, the thinking substance. It's everything's created twice, once in the unseen and once in the seen, on the physical plane. So, that's kind of giving you a little more of what we are talking about in a previous episode or previous chapter. And that is a good foundation for you to kind of understand that, because gratitude connects right with that. And we'll get into that, I'm definitely sure. So the first step to getting whatever you want, money, whatever you want, right? Whatever you desire. Desire is from within, right? Neville calls it the language of God. That's what he calls desire. So you want something, and spirit wants to work to and through you to achieve that thing. So the first step is convey the idea. What is the idea? What you want, what you desire, what you want to become. Convey that idea in your imagination, in the fantasy. Everything starts in the fantasy. So really think about that. Think about that. Don't let everything else control your thinking. You got to have a foundation of where you're going. And I'll, stop there, because I can talk this entire hour about that and gratitude. Anybody want to jump in there?
Yeah, thanks for that, Jamel. That's so important, what you just said. And I love what you just said. And this chapter on gratitude, I think it's really the heartbeat, as it were, of the science of getting rich. Because gratitude is one of the most transformative sections of the book. And it's one that, Bob Proctor, our mentor, emphasized to use as a daily study. He recommended that. He said, because gratitude keeps the mind connected to the source of supply. That what Jamel was just talking about, and it keeps us in that higher vibration. So the author, Wallace Wattles, he's revealing that gratitude is the connecting link between desire and its manifestation. And he calls that the key that unlocks the door to power. And it's not just, gratitude is not just a pleasant feeling. It's a vibrational connection to the creative force that supplies everything. So when you express genuine gratitude, you move your consciousness from wanting to having. And it's at that moment that you're no longer in resistance or a lack. You're in harmony with the universe, with the universal law of abundance. And, he's teaching us, Wattles is teaching us that when you're grateful, or when you're ungrateful, then you lose touch with the source, and you can't receive what you can, or you're not connected to. So every time you say thank you sincerely, you're establishing that connection. Lou.
Yeah, very good. Thank you both, Jamel and Paul. That was powerful. I too have that sentence highlighted. The first step towards getting rich is to convey the idea of your wants to the formless substance. I don't know how many times we ask this question, how many posts we've put on, how many emails. What do you want? That was a question that Bob asked me that literally put me on a very different trajectory in life, because I didn't have an answer. And it's like waking up each and every day, leaving your house, hopping in your car without a direction, without a destination. What are you putting into the GPS? Where is the GPS taking you? So if you are in your car and you just leave, and let's say program for home, it will just keep taking you home. It's not going to bring you anywhere new. So that sentence is so powerful. And this is what Jamel and Paul were talking about, desire. Desire is that spark that ignites. So this is why we mentioned, if you are not truly emotionally connected to what it is that you truly want, that you want to experience in this life, then it's just a wish or a hope, or wouldn't that be nice? Because we must give this formless substance some direction. We must give it a target. And this is where, we're talking about gratitude, but also faith. And there's what we talk about, our mental faculties. We've mentioned these many times: imagination, reason, will, perception, memory, and intuition. These are all tools, but we must first start with what is it that you truly want, and to really reflect on your life, to be grateful for all you have. And that's why this chapter is very powerful. I was just reading someone's post, and I don't know what happened to him. He was in he had some medical emergency. And from that emergency, where he didn't think he'd ever see his son again, came gratitude, because he took that time to really reflect upon his life. So gratitude doesn't necessarily only mean to be grateful for the things that you have, but also to be grateful for the things that maybe you didn't desire, you didn't want, but it was part of your path. So when I look back on my life, the things I go, geez, I wish I made a different decision or a different choice, but I realize I'm very grateful for those experiences, because they've led me here. So grateful is not only for the good, but also for the contrast that led you to this place right now. Jamel?
No, this is so good, Paul and Lou. This is so good, because good. Oh, that's good. Earl Nightingale. Mm-hmm. There's good in everything, and you just have to see it. So I love that you shared that. And it's interesting how I know what I was going to say, but when you say certain things, it just flows so effortlessly. And a lot of people choose to see the negatives with their thoughts and dwell on the past, and not see the beauty in the development or the struggle that created you. It's all happening for you and not to you. And I understand that now. I was like, wow, okay. It just comes with a higher awareness as you learn more about yourself. And this is why you're watching this today, because you felt something and you're attracting it. You're attracting this knowledge for you to grow and for you to understand yourself and the laws of our being. And speaking of laws, wow, this is huge. He says it becomes necessary to relate yourself to the formless intelligence in a harmonious way. In a harmonious way. So what does that mean? Basically, a lot of people operate out of harmony. You're out of harmony and you're not aligned. So you're putting things in the formless thinking substance that you don't want. So you're creating, either way you're creating, but you're creating things that you don't want anymore, because you're putting all this energy and focus into it. So you're taking this thing, putting in the formless stuff, and you're thinking about it. Oh, I got to get out of debt. I got to get out of debt. Well, what do you think you're doing? Thoughts become things. That was in my affirmation today. Thoughts become things. So you're putting your thought energy into what you don't want. So if you're focusing on getting out of debt, guess what? You're going to stay in debt. All the universe hears is debt, right? So he says in a harmonious way, right? Harmony. Listen to music. Oh, I can go there. Harmony is so beautiful. melody is obvious, right? You're singing along, you got the chorus or the hook, and you got this main melody. We can even listen to Beethoven. He has main melodies. But you know what's very subtle that supports the melody?
Mm-hmm.
The harmony. The harmony. It's like a bed that you're laying on and that it's supporting you. Right? It's so amazing when you have a musical ear and you're just listening to harmony. It's there, you feel it, but it's not out in the open, right? And this is what he means by a harmonious way. You support each other
Mm-hmm.
to the greater self, right? So, and also he says, oh, this is so good. The whole process of mental adjustment and atonement can be summed up in one word. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Gratitude. Gratitude, right? So really think about that. The whole process of mental adjustment. It doesn't matter what's happening or what happened. With gratitude, it realigns you with the source. And that's what Paul was mentioning earlier. And without gratitude, he even says you become the opposite of what you desire, basically, to put it frankly. And that is a huge statement there early on in the chapter. And when I read that, I was like, oh, so gratitude's very important, huh? The whole process of mental adjustment. I'm sure some of our viewers could use a mental adjustment. We're all human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I mentioned at the top of the hour was, what are you grateful for? And share that publicly. Don't just, you can even say it to yourself, but doing it publicly, even solidifies it. And the universe always listens and watches.
Yeah. Very, very good. I wanted to share, so also depending on how you raised. I was talking to a dear friend of mine the other day, and I realized she's always saying that she's so grateful for things, whatever it is that we're talking about. And I brought that to her attention, and she said, my parents instilled that in me. And I realized that even though I grew up in a family, I went to Catholic school, I heard the word gratitude, appreciation, but they were just really words. It's almost like nowadays you might see I'm grateful on a t-shirt or on a pillowcase or on a coffee mug. And it's something that you should be grateful for or appreciate something, but it's a different feeling. It's very, very different when you live it, when it's in every cell of your being, how grateful you are for this gift of life, how grateful. And I realized also that when we're children, and maybe up to a certain age, I don't know, curiosity, we're filled with curiosity. And I realized how necessary at the earliest stages of life, how important and how necessary curiosity is, because you wouldn't discover things, you wouldn't take risks. These are the things that you learn. You fall down, you cut yourself, you get back up. And then for me, at a certain stage in my life, probably when I became an empty nester and I started studying this material, wow, gratitude really kicked in. And I can look back on my life. I can look back at my experiences, and I look at my current life, and I sometimes get overwhelmed with how grateful I am, but I never had that before. something, oh yeah, I'm grateful. Oh yeah, I appreciate. They were kind of just words, and I was not emotionally connected to the feeling of gratitude. But I honestly say now that I definitely am. But that all took learning about me, learning about universal laws, and being able to have conversations with people that speak this language, so to speak, right? And that's why I just appreciate Coach's Corner so much, because we get together and have conversations that are meaningful. I can't have them with just anybody. So I'm so truly grateful for Coach's Corner, truly grateful for the material that we've studied, we continue to study, and the material that we've shared. But yeah, I don't know if, Jamil must have stepped out for a second. He didn't go over the first, second, and third things that we know. Did he, Paul?
No, we didn't do anything like
I
that.
think I'm going to let you do that. How's that?
No. Well, I was going to start. I love what you said, but I was going to start talking about something that that Lou said earlier, and to be grateful for the things that we have and truly grateful for, but also there were moments or experiences that happened that you hadn't planned on or that you hadn't wanted, but now looking back, you're grateful that those things did happen because they've put you in the place that you are now. And that's very true. That's so true that you have to recognize that. And we should all recognize that. But the other thing is about gratitude is to be grateful for the things that you're working towards, your goals, your dreams, as if you've already received them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was huge. That, to me, that was really huge, because it's okay. You can start, and it's great to start, my day off with things that I'm grateful for, my house where I live and my friends and the support and the resources I have and all those things. And you could do, when you start, it's easy, but also to be grateful for the things that I'm working towards as if I've already received them. And, in this chapter, Wattles talks about faith as well, faith and gratitude. And a grateful mind expects good. So expectation is faith in motion, and your gratitude will fuel that expectation. So when you're grateful, you expect more good to come because you recognize that abundance is already present.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you start to train your mind to see possibility instead of lack or limitation. Ungrateful people, on the other hand, they tend to expect disappointment, or they're looking for what's missing, or they're, and so by law, and Jamel touched on this earlier, they attract more of that. But gratitude literally reprograms the subconscious to expect and attract better outcomes. And it shifts your frequency from, I hope it happens, to I know it's coming. So the moment you give thanks for something before it appears, then you are declaring faith that it's already yours. And that's creative gratitude. And that's the kind that attracts results, magnetizes results towards you. And Waddle says, somewhere in here, I wrote this down, the moment you permit your mind to dwell with dissatisfaction upon things as they are, you lose ground. So ingratitude cuts you off from the creative power. And every time you complain and you criticize, or you focus on what you lack, and you disconnect yourself from the creative flow. And so those thoughts tell the universe, hey, you're not in harmony with abundance. So, it's a vibrational law, right? You can't move towards something while thinking against it. So you can't attract abundance while focusing on scarcity. So, if you catch yourself saying, I can't afford this, or nothing works out, you have to, stop yourself and replace it with gratitude. So example, I'm grateful that I'm learning to manage money better rather than I can't afford this. Or I'm thankful opportunities are appearing even if I can't see them yet. And that doesn't ignore reality, because people say, well, that's not realistic. Well, it doesn't ignore reality, but it transforms your relationship with it. And faith and gratitude, they're inseparable. They strengthen each other.
Wow, this is so good. Such a powerful knowledge to share about this, because this shapes everything in your life. You know, I used to listen to this chapter every day driving my daughter to her daycare. And I was listening to it in the morning and afternoon, just reprogramming my subconscious about gratitude. And more I listened to this, the more I really understood it. And I understand it even just reading it today before this live again. I understand it at a deeper level. And rewatch this a billion times. Watch it every day if you can. It's not just, you know, us trying to feel good. This is us wanting you the best for you, right? And for you to actually apply this to your essence of your being. So speaking of being, right, it says, believe that there is one intelligent substance. So believe that there's an intelligent substance from which all things proceed. All things proceed, right? Second, believe that this substance gives you everything you desire. It'll give you everything you desire. This is why, you know, Lou mentioned earlier, what are you putting in your GPS? Where are you going in your life, right? If you keep hitting the home button, you're stuck. You're not going anywhere. You're stuck in your house, right? You're not creating, right? You're just kind of, you don't know where you're going, what you want to create, right? So it gives you everything that you desire, including things that you don't desire, because you're still creating with your thoughts. You're creating things you don't want by focusing on things you don't want. And then it says in third, you relate yourself to it by a feeling of deep and profound gratitude. Look at that. You're relating yourself to this intelligent substance through gratitude. Gratitude, it's the connection to it. So this is how you're relating yourself to it. And anytime, you know, Paul mentioned that you're not in gratitude, you're disconnecting yourself from source. You're still creating, but you're disconnecting, right? And, you know, to kind of reiterate here, many people who order their lives, this is so many people who order their lives rightly in all other ways are kept in poverty by their lack of gratitude. This is huge, right? So having received a gift from God or spirit or infinite intelligence or whatever religious background, they cut the wires which connect them with him by failing to make acknowledgement. There's a typo there. So basically, just because you receive something good, right? Good, whatever you see good in your life, we tend to get kind of wrapped up in life and not find this strain of gratitude every day. It's really powerful because, oh, I got my new car. And then you just kind of forget it till next Christmas or next birthday, right? Speaking of birthdays, I'm celebrating birthdays this month. But the point is, you know, you're disconnecting yourself from this. It's like a road or a connection to spirit or the source. And he even says consistently, the more gratitude, consistently you're grateful. And I never caught that in this chapter until today. I was like, whoa. Oh, so when you're grateful consistently, you're never separate from the source. It wants to give you more because you come with a grateful heart. So I really wanted to touch on those 2 points because they're extremely impactful for me, and I'm sure for those that are watching as well. But yeah, any thoughts, anybody?
Hmm. Um, that was fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, there's all these little. I'm looking at the little highlights in my book, and there's plenty of them. Um, I love this particular one. Gratitude alone can keep you looking toward the all and prevent you from falling into the error of thinking of the supply as and to do what would be fatal for hopes. So when we're grateful and understanding the connection to everything that we have, everything that we're surrounded by, it keeps us from falling into the error that supply is limited. You know, I just wrote down here, popped into my head. Sometimes when you travel, whether it's airplane or car, or however, train, and you may complain about the experience. It was bumpy, it was turbulent, there was traffic, yada, yada. Think maybe 100, 200 years ago, before, how people traveled, whether it was, I don't know, a horse and carriage, maybe even back further by walking. So when you can take what we have now and just go back and think, where was this technology 50 years ago, 100 years ago, no matter what it is, you will see desire in action to create. People were tired of walking. They create whatever. They discovered the horse, or they discovered, well, they needed more than just the horse. They needed to carry things from one point to another. So then we got a carriage, or what do they call the canvas things? I forget what are they called?
I thought a carriage, but
A covered wagon. That's what I was thinking of.
oh,
So, and from there, whatever, bicycle, trains, planes. So thinking about that, you can see how this formless substance is in motion. And it's all by creating what the human is desiring. And I just did a post the other day. I watched something and it just triggered. We all say human, human. And I know I've said this before in the past. Well, I'm only human. I'm only human, right? We've heard it. We hear it in songs. We see it in movies and books. And when I realize how disempowering and limiting that phrase is, and when I listen to this video, you are a Hue, man. In other words, you are a light being. So our thoughts, our vibration, our frequency, everything that we feel is transmitting and receiving frequencies. And the universe responds accordingly. So when we're grateful, we put ourselves, gratitude is a vibration. It's a vibration. A belief is a vibration. Words have vibrations. Sometimes when I'm speaking to someone, I hear the words disgusting, awful, horrible, evil. Those words have heavy, heavy densities to them. And you feel, even just saying those now, I can feel myself. But when I say joy, gratitude, love, peace, community, family, that shifts my vibration. And that's what gratitude is. It's a vibration. And like Jamel mentioned, being grateful, or maybe it was Paul, being grateful for whatever it is that you want to achieve as if it's already happening now. Because if you're looking into the future, you're saying, well, I'm not that person yet. I haven't experienced it yet. So you are in the
All right.
or oh,
Oh,
did we?
there you are.
I had some really good stuff. Did I
Look at
freeze?
that. Keep going. Keep going, Lou.
Keep going, keep going. Yeah.
Did I freeze? Damn it. But when we're in the vibration of already having it, that's a different frequency. And we can say, thank you. I've already received. Thank you. Thank you. Instead of, I'm still needing, I'm still wanting. So I just wanted to address that. I don't know how much was cut out. Bummer.
Hey, we're thankful you're able to come back on.
Okay.
It was just a short, that we didn't miss
Yeah.
much.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but that's great. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to touch a little bit more on that as well about cultivating advanced gratitude, right? The person that you want to become, the life that you want to have, the things that you want to do. To be grateful for the things that you have already, and you'll see more to be grateful for when you do that, but also to be grateful for the things that you want to be and do and have. Do that in advance. And when you give thanks before the evidence appears, that's cultivating advanced gratitude. I know that Jamel likes to say, lack of evidence is not evidence of lack. And doing this, it's one of the highest forms of spiritual confidence because Bob taught this really beautifully. He said, you don't wait to be grateful. You get grateful and then you receive. So gratitude expands your capacity to receive. The universe works by the law of expansion. So whatever you focus on, it grows. So when you're grateful, you focus on what's working, what's good, what's possible. And that focus will expand your awareness. It raises your vibration and it opens you to receive more, right? Gratitude also removes resistance. You can't receive what you are ignoring or what you resent. But so by appreciating what you already have, then you're giving a signal that you're ready and that you're capable of receiving more. So gratitude turns what you have into enough, and then enough into more than enough. Because it multiplies not only wealth, but peace, creativity, opportunities. So it's more than just gratitude. It's more than a daily list. It's a state of consciousness that keeps you in harmony with the creative current of life. So it's not a tool to get more, but it's a way of being more. And when you live from gratitude, you naturally attract everything that's aligned with growth and joy and increase. Janelle.
So well shared. That was so well shared, both of you. I couldn't have said it better, And I was thinking about my morning routine this morning, and also a conversation I had with some clients on a call this morning. And I recommend everyone here that watches this have a gratitude journal every morning, right? You can start writing 3 things, 5 things, or 10 things you're grateful for. And this morning for me was, with all my heart, I'm grateful for blank, right? So I usually start it with that. And I mix mine up. I do things I'm grateful for in the present tense and also things I'm grateful for in advance, because it feels so good when you say it. It just feels so good. And let me kind of give you a little more insight on how we can be grateful for things in advance. For those that haven't done that, it feels weird because we're so reliant on our eyes, what we see with our eyes. We have to see through our eyes, not with our eyes. So when you see through your eyes, you can see the vision of where you want to go and what you want to achieve. So being thankful in advance, we know through study and knowing more about ourselves and the laws of our being that creation is finished. Everything you desire is already done.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you want. It's on a different frequency. And this is where vibration comes in. Guess what happens when you have gratitude? Your vibration raises. Your frequency raises. It's only natural. And these are laws that are here. So when you're thankful in advance, you're actually bringing your future to your present. Mm-hmm. And I had a really deep conversation. I was saying how, in actuality, time doesn't exist. I don't want to go too far, but this is our way to kind of comprehend our experiences through life. We kind of make up this thing called time, but you can bring your future to the present with gratitude. And with gratitude, being thankful in advance, your outside has to reflect your inside. It has to by law. So this is why it's very important to have a vision of what you're grateful for one, what's here, because you created what's here now from your past thinking and your vibrational states. But where you want to go, be grateful for it in advance and get very clear on it. You're bringing that energy, that frequency to this moment. That is extremely powerful. And getting emotionally involved with it. You're playing a trick on your mind. Don't worry, Lou's coming back. You're playing a trick on your mind, but at the same time, your subconscious, it doesn't know what's real or what's make-believe. That's your subconscious. That's what you feel is true. And I always say that, believe in the unseen. You have to believe in it. And when you believe in it, you're matching that vibration. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that because some people I know, they're like, how can you be grateful for something that's not here? Oh, it's here. You just haven't matched the frequency of it. And it hasn't manifested physically, but it's here. So, and he even says here, the nearer we live to the source of wealth, the more wealth we shall receive. And it is easy to understand that the soul that is always grateful lives in closer touch with the source or God or whatever religious background than the one which never looks to the source or God in thankful acknowledgement. So you are acknowledging when you're in gratitude. Welcome back, Lou. You're acknowledging, right? And I'm thankful Lou's here. I'm thankful Paul's here. I'm thankful we're able to share this beautiful knowledge with you and express our experiences with it, right? So this is something to really be grateful for, and you should be grateful you caught this episode. Imagine what that does to your vibrational state. Listen to that. The nearer we live to the source of wealth, the source of all wealth, the more wealth we shall receive. How plain and simple is that, right? And it's easy to understand that the soul that is always grateful lives in closer touch with whatever it is you believe in that sends everything to you, right? Than the one which never looks to the source in thankful acknowledgement. This is why, like, some of the wealthiest people can have all the money in the world, right? But they lose it because they weren't grateful for it. Or they could feel really upset or not fulfilled because they weren't thankful for whatever it is they have in their life. This is really interesting and very powerful to understand. But yeah, here's a few thoughts.
No, that's great, Jamel. And so what Jamel was saying, right? You have to believe that what you want already exists, and that's faith. That's and talks about Wattles talks about faith in here too, and that faith is believing that what you want exists, and gratitude, because gratitude and faith go hand in hand. Gratitude celebrates that what you want already is already on its way. So gratitude is the emotional proof of faith. So if you say you believe, but are still worrying or doubting or complaining, that's not faith. That's fear disguised as logic, right? A lot of people say, well, that's, I'm being realistic. Well, no, they're not. When you truly believe, you feel grateful right now. And that gratitude, it keeps, it holds your faith when the results aren't yet visible. So that's why, you have to really, really nurture and cultivate that advanced gratitude. So, giving your thanks before you actually see it. Know that it's there. Have the faith that it's there. And keep nurturing that, and you will see that. So be grateful for what you have, but be grateful for the things that you want. Be grateful for the thing as if you've already received it. Lou, did you want to add?
I do. So I apologize. I don't know how much I missed, and maybe you touched upon this, but again, something that I have highlighted. Fix your attention on the best is to surround yourself with the best and to become the best. Creative power within us makes us into the image of that which we give our attention to. That is so powerful. So I want you to think, this is a visual I like, is that I am plugged into an outlet. That outlet has power, right? Source energy. So you can think of electricity. If I think of, and this is why it's so important to visualize, think, and feel as if it's already done. Amen. It's already done. Amen. So if I thought of myself as a little nightlight, a little 4-watt bulb, the power is only as good as the instrument it flows through. So that power will give off 4 watts of light. It doesn't. So if you think, well, I want to be a 100-watt light bulb, but you think and feel and believe that you are still the 4-watt light bulb, that's what the energy, the power, the source will give off. It doesn't know, well, maybe I want to be 100-watt. I